Thank you, honorable senators and Professor Hampson, Ms. Cote-Freeman, for your compelling and comprehensive testimony. At a time when the rules-based international order is under attack and democratic norms are in decline, Canada has a unique opportunity to set the global standard for human rights practice and policy by refining our targeted sanctions framework through Bill S-217. Our current sanctions legislation sends an important message of solidarity to victims and accountability to violators, ensuring that through visa bans and asset seizures, the despots and dictators of the world cannot enjoy the freedoms in Canada that they deny their compatriots at home. Bill S-217 builds upon this in a meaningful way. We wholeheartedly endorse it and offer three prospective amendments for your consideration. First, in Article 6, foreign national should be changed to foreign person. The distinction is important. Foreign national restricts the proposed legislation to only apply to individual people, which would thereby exclude a significant proportion of currently implemented sanctions, particularly under the more expansive Special Economic Measures Act. Using the term foreign person would be more inclusive, covering the full range of those subject to sanctions under existing legislation, including legal persons such as corporate entities. Due to the current opacity that this bill addresses, we cannot explore the breakdown of currently seized assets, but can surmise that such entities constitute a compelling and significant proportion of them, while being part and parcel of the human rights violations and corruption that the bill seeks to redress. Second, with respect to Article 5, you may wish to consider a mechanism for the public or parliamentarians, such as this very committee, to be able to petition government to initiate a repurposing of assets and mandating a fulsome explanation if the government declines to do so. This additional democratic oversight and transparency would further strengthen standards and expand expertise while promoting a more proactive and responsive process. It would also very much be in line with foreign and domestic best practices. For instance, the US global Magnitsky laws require a detailed government response to submissions by legislators and also encourages petitions and submissions from NGOs and civil society actors, and all of which have often anchored and inspired sanctions implementation in the United States. Here at home, Canadian parliamentary procedure provides precedent for such legislative oversight practices, where, for example, order paper questions pursuant to Article 39 of the Standing Orders of the House of Commons have generally engendered substantive governmental responses within a mandated 45-day timeframe. So enshrining such democratic oversight would enhance Bill S-217. Third, it should be made clear that individual targeted victims and survivors can also be the beneficiaries of asset repurposing, in addition to the important focus on the broader class of forcibly displaced persons, populations that the current bill emphasizes. Article 8 of the bill could potentially be interpreted to allow for this already, though the originators of the bill have made very clear that they view the forcibly displaced as the single and exclusive class of beneficiaries, and the preamble of the bill alludes to this. The individual dissidents and human rights defenders who put not only their livelihoods, but their very lives on the line in the defense of fundamental freedoms are particularly deserving of consideration in such a framework for the repurposing of frozen assets. While no amount of money could ever compensate for the loss of loved ones, loss of limbs, or for the years lost in unjust imprisonment, it could at least help them cover some of the heavy costs involved in reclaiming their lives, but that are far too frequently out of reach for them financially. And this can be accomplished without unduly complicating the bill's envisioned process. Its simple and straightforward summary hearing could be maintained with a more generous interpretation of Article 7.1, so that victims and survivors are deemed to potentially have a valid interest in the frozen asset and may participate in the hearing. This more inclusive interpretation can be reinforced in a variety of ways, but the most unintrusive one, both for Articles 7 and 8, would be by simply amending the preamble of the bill so that it specifically references the importance of redress for individual victims as a core purpose alongside support for forcibly displaced persons. We believe that the three proposed refinements strengthen the bill and ultimately its main purpose of advancing justice and accountability while assisting the most vulnerable. In closing, we wish to reaffirm our strong endorsement of the bill and encourage its expeditious adoption. Senators, some of the worst kleptocrats and killers of the world are benefiting from foreign banks and lounging on beaches while their victims languish in pain. When that image is replaced with one of an empowered survivor claiming their rights, international justice starts to tell a different story. Thank you.